I'm Sam Matheny, CTO of the National Association of Broadcasters, and it is my pleasure to talk with you about a new service that we've developed and are beginning to deploy on a trial basis, BPS. BPS stands for Broadcast Positioning System. BPS sounds a lot like GPS, or Global Positioning System, and it is, in the sense that these two services both deliver precision timing signals, and they can work together. GPS is an amazing service that you probably think about for navigation on your cell phone or in your car. But GPS does a lot more than that. And so can BPS. Let's take a look at some slides that will help explain BPS and the role it can play. So again, BPS stands for Broadcast Positioning System. And you may be asking, why do we need BPS? Well, one of the challenges with GPS is that it comes from satellites and it has a very weak signal and it can be vulnerable to jamming and spoofing. And if it is attacked, not only does it mean that your iPhone or your Android phone's navigation may be impacted, but it also means that our nation's critical infrastructure, which relies on GPS for timing, is also at risk. What do I mean by critical infrastructure? Our power grid, our telecommunications networks, our financial transactions, our data centers, they all rely on GPS as a source of timing for the services that they provide. And the US government has said that GPS is a single point of failure, and they are looking for a complementary system to provide timing to that critical infrastructure. And they're doing that because the US economy stands to lose billions of dollars a day if GPS becomes unavailable. It's literally an annual trillion-dollar problem. So what is BPS? BPS is a system that provides time and position using ATSC 3.0 broadcast signals. So instead of that signal coming from a satellite, it comes off a TV tower using ATSC 3. BPS is completely compliant with the ATSC 3 standard, and it can operate completely independent of GPS. It does not need internet connectivity or a cellular service. So here's how it works. Basically, what you're looking at here is an ATSC 3.0 signal. And in that signal, you have an ATSC frame that's made up of the bootstrap, the preamble, and the payload. What we are doing with BPS is we are putting a timestamp in the preamble of the signal. So we're constantly saying, this is what time this signal was transmitted. And then inside of a data physical layer pipe, we are saying, this is where this tower is located. So it's basically the exact same way GPS works. It says, this is what time this signal left the satellite, and this is where the satellite is in the constellation in the sky. We're doing that with BPS, and we're just doing it with a tower that never moves, but we're providing that same information. And with that same information, an end user can calculate not only their time where they are, but also the position by triangulating with multiple towers. So these are the exact same pseudo-range calculations that are in place with GPS, and we can use them with BPS. What have we done? Well, first we started with an example in our lab, and then we deployed in a low power environment, and now I'm delighted to tell you that we are on the air in a full power environment in Washington, D.C. at WHUT. This is the installation. There are several pictures here. I will call your attention to the third picture on the top row. That is really the BPS equipment. We've really added two pieces of equipment, and that is a separate standalone clock and something called a synchronizer that synchronizes that time and that clock into the ATSC 3 signal. So this is what it looks like in our lab at 1M. This is our headquarters here at NAB. And what we've got here is a computer that configures the BPS user equipment. That's what UE stands for. We have an oscilloscope that we're using to compare the signals between GPS and BPS. And then we've got a rack of equipment that has both the GPS receiver and the BPS receiver in it. And so with that, on the right-hand side, you're able to see a comparison that shows both the GPS signal and the BPS signal, and you can see that they are very tightly aligned. That is, if you know how to read an oscilloscope. And what we have here is a chart that shows stability testing over a 24-hour period where we are plus or minus 100 nanoseconds of accuracy. So if you don't know, a nanosecond is 1 billionth of a second. And to meet the needs of critical infrastructure, we really need to be at roughly a microsecond, which is 1 millionth of a second. So we are very accurate with our early trials over the air here at WHUT. There are going to be a number of sessions at NAB show related to BPS. You can see them here. They were on Saturday and Sunday, so hopefully you are able to take some of those in. And then we've also written a number of papers on BPS going back to 2021 with our seminal paper that Tariq Mandal, Bob Weller, and myself authored. And then there's been a variety of others that have been published last year and even more this year. So a lot happening with BPS, both in the field and at NAB show. As you can see, BPS is an innovative ATSC 3.0 datacast service that can help ensure national and economic security. Because it is a broadcast service, BPS can be offered to an unlimited number of passive receivers. We are seeing great results in our early trials and look forward to continuing our efforts to further develop and deploy BPS.